If OCD sufferers would just focus on two main issues, they could free themselves from OCD. People suffering from OCD are cognitively rigid and emotionally rigid. This workbook shows you how to become more cognitively flexible and emotionally flexible. When you learn to become more flexible instead of rigid in these two areas, then OCD loses all of its power. When OCD loses all of its power, you finally get all your power back. When you get your power back, you feel a sense of peace of mind, relaxation, and happiness that you've forgotten how to feel. I will introduce you to the concepts and techniques that will make you more cognitively and emotionally flexible so you can relearn how to relax and be happy. You will learn in this workbook that your primary obstacle in becoming more cognitively flexible is your addiction to emotional thinking. All effective cognitive treatments for OCD in one way or another focus on rational thinking versus emotional thinking, pure and simple. I found the exact same conclusion in my published research study in college and graduate school. My research showed that emotional coping styles were associated with an increased perceived stress and physical illness, in contrast to problem-focused coping, which reduced perceived stress and physical symptoms of illness. In fact, this is the central theme in all effective behavioral treatments for OCD. Logical thinking always leads to healthier thinking for people, which thus leads to a more vigorous mind and less OCD symptoms. I told you I was going to show you how to outthink OCD. Keep reading or listening, and you will learn that the real obstacle to emotional flexibility is our addiction to feeling just right. We struggle to feel good or right because feeling bad or not right makes us feel uncomfortable and vulnerable. In our ancient past, feeling comfortable was strongly correlated with truly being safe. When our ancestors felt uncomfortable, they were probably in real danger. Over time, millions of years, we learned to predict our safety by how we felt emotionally. Therefore, over time, people learned to desire control of their emotions because genetically it felt identical to reality itself. Feeling anxious is the same as truly being in danger. How do you try to control your feelings? Either you can avoid certain situations or people that scare you, or you can change how you do things to feel more comfortable or just right. The better you get at controlling your feelings, the more concerned you become about how you should feel. The more comfortable you have to become, the more rigid your emotions become. The more rigid your emotions become, the harder it is to be comfortable or to just feel just right. Later down the road, unless you are perfectly comfortable, then you are uncomfortable, which leads to anxiety and discomfort. You now have to feel just right to obtain comfort. Do you see the downward spiral here? You must learn to grow or stretch your range of emotions and thoughts that you are comfortable with. To grow or stretch, though, you must learn to become more flexible. You must learn how to outgrow your old comfort zones. You must relearn that you are and always have been in the past perfectly comfortable with these uncomfortable feelings and thoughts. You must relearn that you are strong and flexible. Pain is temporary when it is finally faced. The main idea. The overall theme of this book hit me like a bolt of lightning when one of my clients started crying in my office and told me she didn't understand what the primary goal of our treatment was. She said she felt overwhelmed by all of the different techniques I was using in therapy with her. It really bothered me because I was offering her all of these fantastic, powerful approaches to battle her OCD, and she seemed to be confused by all of them. I knew they worked, so why didn't she just trust me? I was troubled that possibly my treatment plan was too complicated for my clients. She was confused about the primary goal of all of these different techniques and exercises. She was lost in a forest of theories, techniques, and homework assignments. What is the main idea of all of this stuff? She asked, crying. I helped her understand that all of these different treatment methods had just two primary central objectives. My OCD treatment plan only seemed complex until I showed her how all of these diverse strategies are all directly related to the two main ideas of this book, which are cognitive and emotional flexibility. Simplicity is important, but complexity is necessary. This is a finer balance in the treatment. There is power in treatment complexity as long as it's simple in theory. This wide range of techniques allows you to hit your OCD on all sides, thus weakening it exponentially. I have learned in life from a multitude of contexts, including military history, sports, medicine, and treating clients with OCD, that to overwhelm an opponent, you need to strike that opponent on multiple fronts from many different angles. In basketball, the three-point shot opens up the inside game. An excellent passing offense opens up the run game in American football. A pack of wolves or hyenas work together to confuse their prey or take meat from a more powerful lion. One of the main strategies of this workbook is to throw off and confuse your OCD by using a variety of techniques at the same time. This method confuses your adversary, OCD, because it throws it off and doesn't have any coordinated defense. There are too many moving parts to figure out an adequate defense. Keeping your enemy, OCD, off balance is one of the main objectives of this treatment plan. For this exact reason, we will attack your OCD on 5 fronts. I will discuss these 5 fronts in much more detail later in this workbook. I've seen this powerful strategy overwhelm and destroy my clients' OCD session after session, day after day. These techniques are being used together in a synergistic approach. In other words, these techniques are much stronger together than if they were being used separately. Victorious warriors win first in their minds and then go to war. Defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. Sun Tzu. Reprogramming your mind. For you to become more emotionally and cognitively flexible, I must first teach you how to think more logically instead of emotionally. Logical thinking leads to increased flexibility, while emotional thinking leads to emotional and cognitive rigidity. Therefore, OCD sufferers must learn to reprogram their minds to think more logically. We must exercise our logical thinking to prepare it for the coming battles it will be involved in when coping with obsessions and compulsions. Remember, I'm going to show you how to rewrite the coding of your brain, thoughts, and emotions. At first, these techniques may feel mechanical and artificial, but after you practice them for a few weeks, they will become as natural and intuitive as your compulsions are now. Finally, I will show you how to decide which environments and behaviors you will very slowly include in your life to expand your emotional flexibility by becoming less sensitive to negative emotions and thoughts. I will show you how easy it is to get habituated or normalized to any feeling or thought. You have been habituating to your fears your whole life, such as swimming, driving, riding a bike, speaking in public, etc. It's not that you can't overcome your fears, it's only that you have chosen not to yet. Once you gain the ability to practice these simple techniques and consistently use them, I promise you that your OCD will become powerless and weak. A workbook written for everyone. This workbook was written in a profoundly brief, simple, and practical way so that teens, adults, and parents and counselors can quickly read it and turn around and begin using this workbook's structured, powerful treatment plan within hours of picking up this workbook. Readers are motivated to use this workbook's treatment plan because it is simple, short, and focuses on only using evidence-based treatments and techniques to alleviate OCD symptoms. If you just learn how to rethink OCD and practice some of these techniques, you will begin noticing the weakening of your OCD symptoms within days. This is a special kind of workbook because I really will speak to your heart and understand what you're going through and how to convince you to move forward with this treatment plan. As an OCD psychotherapist, I have had to learn over time how to make complex ideas and theories simple for my clients so they will be able to understand what they need to know to overcome OCD. I promise you that after explaining all of this to you, it will be so simple and seem obvious in hindsight. Hindsight